So it's really great coming to events like this from Skillcast because you get to network with other people. It's really interesting to see some of the speakers they have who are really credible, have a completely different perspective and lens from what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. Just freshens things up, take a few things away to have a little think about. So yeah, really valuable, and it's great to meet people face to face.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have events like this purely for sharing best practice. And through the conversations that I've had with people today, just through networking, a lot of them have been really surprised with the diversity of people that are here. I think there's a bit of a stigma that everyone here is just going to be in finance and banking, but there's people from all over the place, and it just shows the diversity of clients that Skillcast can cater for as well.
I suppose events like this are really helpful because, number one, you learn from your peers, you see what other people are doing, and you're so used to using the system how you use it. Someone might use it slightly differently and you're like, well, why don't we do that? And it's kind of like opens your eyes to be like, practically, how does that look and feel for me? Whereas I suppose, Skillcast are really good and they show what they're developing, but you're so concentrated on what you're doing day to day that you don't always think about how you're going to integrate it. So this kind of opens your eyes because you're away from the day to day.
For me, these sort of events are so invaluable for compliance because very often, where else would you get the knowledge about what best practice is? Invariably, we would need at least 25 hours a day to do everything on our to-do lists. So any way that you can have a community of like-minded people where they can share experiences, the good and the bad, it just saves us so much time. And we can be a bit of an island, and so it's really, really helpful to have a really supportive team of people who want you to succeed and are open enough to share what they've done, what you can do as well.
It's great to connect with other people, especially in our sector of the industry. We don't get to see each other a lot, so it's great to see how other firms are handling their issues, and it's great to hear from really experienced professionals in the market and also see what other options are available. I've learned today that there's an AI chatbot coming out, which is really exciting, and it's something that I wasn't even remotely aware of.
Big highlight for me, I think, was Ed's talk from Standard Chartered. It was really good for me to see how he approaches it from the learning side. As someone who looks after a system and how I work with the capability team at Tesco, it was really good to sort of have that parallel of how Standard Chartered are doing it, how they approach learning with regards to their compliance, and then also the parallels of how we do it at Tesco, and the similarities, and sharing best practice is also really good. So that was a big highlight for me.
Charles Kerrigan spoke earlier, and it was really informative, and I loved that he said there's not a human scale of production, so there can't be a human scale of oversight, and I thought that was just really sums up how we're struggling in compliance at the moment to keep up with all of our various duties and responsibilities. The highlight is, I suppose, that no one's got a perfect model in terms of how they use AI, how they use data, but everyone's trying. And I suppose that's reassuring because you always think everyone's got everything automated, everyone's got it nailed, everyone knows what they're doing, and it's kind of like, okay, like we're all starting somewhere, but we all want to do the same things and achieve the same things, but it's just how we do it, maybe slightly different based on if we're big, we're small, etc.
Things I've taken away from today are about projections and using historic data to look at maybe how we can predict future risks and try and mitigate those. So really interesting to hear some of the speakers on the panel today. Yeah, taking that away today.
So we've been working with Skillcast now for 10 years. Skillcast hosts our channels platform, which is called Click and Learn, learning management system, and that caters for around 350,000 colleagues at its peak, and all of our learning is delivered through that learning management system. We've been able to work with Skillcast to develop that system to meet the ever-changing needs of the business, and yeah, we've been working together for that whole time, so it's been absolutely brilliant.
So we use Skillcast, we really like them. They have a lot of pre-produced module options at Skillcast, and you're also able to tailor them to your firm and your individual needs.
Yeah, so we've worked with Skillcast 10, 11 years, I don't know. I've worked with Ryan for a long period now, and before that James. It's really good. We often come up with different questions. We're a big group. So we have lots of underlying entities. They may need a different instance of Skillcast. We may have complex issues around data and how do we make sure training goes to the right people in the right jurisdictions where they work across jurisdictions. And they always come together and have calls with us, brainstorm and kind of come to a solution. So I find we work collectively. It's not like us and Skillcast, we are one.
So this has been, I think, the second or third firm that I've worked with Skillcast before. They are great in terms of support they give for implementation, the ongoing support in terms of keeping everything up to date with how you're set up. I particularly like the fact they have their policy affirmation module, which means you can put your own material into the platform. Also, we've got that levelling up with IDA, which means we can use AI technology now for the learner to interact with it. Really good stuff. Totally would recommend Skillcast to other startups, scale-ups and corporate firms. The quality of the learning is really good in terms of it comes with great libraries that they update for you. So there's none of that having to chase up and look at updating that information. Other things they can do is there's lots of automation for those chases that historically you would do manually, lots of manual labour in that. So yeah, really great package, really great support.
So I've worked with Skillcast, I think in about 2 organisations where I've headed up compliance beforehand. They're great. They're the people that make you look good so that when you go to your executive and the board, you can kind of really shine. It's really unusual to have a company. They're not about selling, but it's really about wanting to help you to succeed. So yeah, perfection.